Today I went for a first run in what might be my favorite Hoka shoe right now, the Torrent 2. 5.32 miles, 8 minutes, 23 seconds per mile, 144 beats per minute today. Having a very surprising and a very enjoyable first run in the Hoka Torrent 2. Now before I get to my thoughts on this shoe after just the first run, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that was sent to me for the purpose of review by Roadrunner Sports. However, they're not paying me to make this video or to use the shoe, and they're not going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts until you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now what we have here is just an absolute surprise to me, a breath of fresh air. I'm just so impressed with this shoe, but it kind of came out of nowhere. I had really no idea about it. I didn't really have it on my radar, but it was one of the shoes that Roadrunner sent to me, and they haven't steered me wrong. And so I thought that I would give it a shot, and I'm so glad that I did. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a Pro Fly midsole that is super soft and squishy, coming in at 9.1 ounces for the total package for a size 9, and a 21 millimeter stack height in the forefoot with a 5 millimeter drop. And so what the ride mechanics are like for this shoe is that it's just super soft. This Pro Fly midsole material is a very soft foam, and I was originally a little bit confused about it, but it gets paired with this beautiful rubber outsole with relatively beefy lugs. For a Roadrunner, this is about as beefy as lugs that I ever need. The design is just absolutely fantastic. I'm in love with it. And it's pretty much full coverage. You're seeing a little bit of the midsole in some of kind of like the gaps and crevices between the lugs, and I think that's a really cool effect. It's actually a really nice combo of materials to run on, where you're getting that softness, but also some bounce back. I'm really liking this combination here. I didn't think I was going to, but it's absolutely fantastic. With the Torrent 2, I'm not really feeling that like there's an early stage meta rock or anything like that. Yet I'm not feeling like I'm really stuck in my foot strike. I feel like I'm able to get through the gait cycle really quickly. My feet aren't spending too much time on the ground. They're not slapping the ground either. It just feels really great to be running both easy paces and even a little bit faster paces in this shoe as well. In the upper, what we have is an engineered mesh made out of Repreve fabrics, which is a fabric made out of recycled plastic. So absolutely loving that. A little bit of padding around the parts that are going to touch your foot around the ankle, and a little bit of padding on the tongue. It makes it very comfortable to step into, but this engineered mesh is a very breathable material. Plenty of room in the toe box. Not the widest shoe I've ever run in, but it seems to be very wide and comfortable. I had no problems with it. In terms of protection from the elements, as it being a trail shoe, you're not getting much of a toe cap. You've got a little bit of an overlay. I'm thinking this is a little TPU overlay that I think is going to help with some moisture and like mud and that kind of thing. But if you're in a place where you're really worried about accidentally kicking rocks or roots, this isn't going to necessarily be the shoe that I would reach for. But this is exactly the shoe that kind of I've been looking for all summer long. I've been looking for that kind of crossover shoe, hybrid shoe. I'm not really sure what the term is for it, but a shoe that you can run a little bit on pavement, a little bit on dirt roads and light trails. Maybe you're doing a little bit of both. Sometimes my road shoes are not quite enough in terms of protecting me from some of the rocks. And then sometimes like full-on trail shoes seem like a little bit much to be wearing. That's where like this shoe like just fits in absolutely perfect. The thick rubber lugs on the bottom are doing a fantastic job of insulating me from like the pain of any rocks or gravel that I might be running on, but it's also not so thick of an outsole that I like don't feel them. So I'm getting a good sense of road feel as well, but I don't find myself needing to like avoid certain areas because I think it might be too rocky underfoot. So I've been really enjoying that, but the shoe is still lightweight and nimble enough that I feel like I'm not wearing like a big clunky trail shoe. I mean, it says lightweight and nimble inside the shoe. So that's definitely what they were going for, and that's definitely what they got. I feel like I could really pick up the pace on these as well. Not saying that I would bring these to a track for like a track workout, but if it's something where you have the benefit of a lot of softer surfaces where you're running, whether it's grass or whether you have dirt roads like I have with me out here, this is a shoe that I can bring to do workouts on those softer surfaces. And I've got some hills out here as well that I could take advantage of, and I feel like this is a shoe that I'm going to be reaching for quite a bit when I want to take advantage of some of the geography that I have available to me here. So I'm super excited about this shoe. When I think about this shoe, there's two other shoes that I've kind of like been like searching for exactly what the Torrent 2 delivers from the Hoka lineup. And one of them has been the Challenger ATR. Last winter I ran in the Challenger 5 ATR or Challenger ATR 5 Goretex version, and I just found like that was a little bit more shoe than I frequently needed. The only time I really enjoyed that shoe was when I was in stuff that was really messy, like muddy, grassy, like really slippery kind of stuff, because that shoe I felt like I was really protected from the elements. I felt like there was a little bit more of a substantial toe cap, so when I really needed to like be careful about what my feet were doing and I wanted to just make sure I had really strong grip in the ground no matter what nature threw at me, then I thought the Challenger ATR, especially the Goretex version, was a fantastic shoe. But in terms of its road manners, it felt very clunky. It felt very stiff, and I didn't really like running on pavement in that shoe. I think that shoe's marketed as more of a road trail shoe as well, but I don't really feel like it fits into that category. For me, as primarily a road runner, I didn't feel like that was a hybrid shoe at all. I felt like that was like a medium level trail shoe. The other shoe from Hoka that I've been kind of looking for exactly what the Torrent 2 delivers has been the Clifton 7, where I felt like it's got like a lot of exposed foam, but minimal rubber, so it still like can be pretty fast and lightweight. And the way that the midsole foam that you're running on is designed, it kind of has its own lugs. So I was hoping that that would be a little bit more of like the road trail hybrid everyday trainer that I've been looking for. But I find, at least so far in my mileage in that shoe, is that that shoe's a little bit too plush for me, a little bit too insulative in terms of when I'm running on some of the dirt roads, and I felt like it was a little bit mushy for me for an everyday trainer, especially if, you know, maybe I want to run a fartlek in the shoe, and so if I want to pick up the pace a little bit, it's happy to do so with the early stage Meta Rocker, but it's not like my favorite shoe to do that in. This I can certainly imagine doing that with, and it kind of fits all my needs and like checks all the boxes that I was looking to kind of check with both of those other two shoes. So I'm really surprised by it, and I just think it's great. There is a comfort that comes with the shoe because there's a slight amount of padding around the part where your foot goes into the shoe, but it's not super squishy soft in the insole. It's soft in terms of when you're running on it, but there isn't that ortho-like marshmallowy softness that Hoka likes to bring to some of its shoes. And I find that that's just strikes the exact right balance that I'm looking for. So super excited to run in this shoe. I feel like is instantly like rises to the top of my rotation in terms of the terrain that I have out here and the kind of running that I've been doing lately. So very excited to have the shoe in the rotation and can't wait to put more runs into it. Those are my thoughts so far on the Hoka Torrent 2 after just the first run. Although technically I've had a few runs in it now between the time that I shot the footage of the initial first run and the time I've talked about it now. So I have a little bit more experience than just the one run, but still early thoughts. But the early thoughts so far, just fantastic early impression. If you have any questions about this shoe, feel free to put them in the comments down below. I'd love to keep the conversation going down there. Thanks so much everybody for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?